folks. Sometimes you start off with one song and end up playing another one. I had a really I was listening to my Audible of Chögyam Trungpa's book, The Sacred Path of the Warrior, today. I had to drive, so I got a little time to listen. And there was one chapter that like pinged into my, it was like the world started to vibrate as I was listening to this chapter, because he's talking about, oh God, can I get the word right? Drupa? It's an energy. Actually, I'm spacing on the word. I can't believe that I can't come up with it right now. But it's a word that's used to describe. Essentially, it means magic. It's like the magic energy that happens when our inner wisdom comes into direct contact with what is. In other words, not into contact with what we think, with our impressions in the mind, but into contact with what is, with actual reality. And there's this beautiful distinction he draws between because what he kind of essentially says is when that happens, a form of energy gets released, a form of energy becomes activated within us that's completely it's essentially magical. It's like invoking our full human potential to manifest things in the world. And of course, this path is predicated on selflessness and service to others. This is not something you can invoke in a self-serving way. Or at least if you do, it becomes ineffective very quickly. But there's this beautiful distinction he draws between the magic that creates. And he often draws a distinction between the way or the path of the great eastern sun, which he talks about being the rising sun, this essentially very egoless and also infinitely powerful, infinitely alive, infinitely connected approach to life, versus the way of the setting sun, which is like based on fear of ourselves and fear of death and all of the actions that the ego therefore takes. Essentially one is a path of identification with and attention on the infinite aspect of ourselves, and one is the way it feels when our energy and our attention are fixated on the finite side of ourselves, the finite aspect of ourselves, and trying to defend that, perpetuate that, prevent death, prolong our time on earth. So that's kind of the two paths he's talking about. Well, he talks about magic, this magic energy that we get from following, from really investing in the infinite side of ourselves, versus the magic of the ego side of ourselves, the death-based, fear of death-based side of ourselves, to put it, flatteringly. And because magic, a lot. It was interesting to me how this was like it was kind of playing with the colloquialisms we use, because oftentimes when we think of magic in our normal world, we think of deception. We think of something where we know that what we're seeing is not really what's happening. There's an illusion, there's deception. And which can be a lot of fun, but it's an art of deception in a way. And he sort of contrasts that with the magic that arises when we are fully invested, engaged, embodied in this other way of utilizing our energy and of connecting with ourselves, of our inner wisdom, not our ego wisdom, but the inherent wisdom in the goodness of who we are, connecting with actual reality. It's another form of magic. It can be described as nothing less than magic. It's synchronicity. It's the knowing and the sort of continuous real-time affirmation that the universe is entirely in support of us, that all we're ever receiving from the universe is a helpful reflection that is helping to guide us along, helping to usher us along towards a more complete identification with that infinite aspect of ourselves. But I just found the terminology so interesting, because it's truly, I've had that sense, I've had that sense of magic. When we have a synchronicity happen, it feels like magic, right? It feels like magic. It feels like something's happening that has no logical explanation. The laws of physics don't explain this, or the laws of life. There's no way. Like, the odds are completely insufficient explanation. There's no way the odds could possibly ever lead to this conclusion, this synchronicity happening in our life, and yet it's happening, and it feels like magic. And that form of magic versus the magic that's deception-based, dazzling, diverting attention from the thing that's really happening, so that an illusion can take place, or a deception can take place. And I'm not, it's because I think there's something also about that form of deception magic that we, it's almost like part of how our lives in our culture sometimes it feels like that type of magic is being worked, not just by magicians, not just in a good-natured, playful way, but in a sort of macro, kind of pan global way. There's a way in which our attention feels like it's being diverted from the real thing, from what's really happening. And I suppose, and as a result, you kind of have to find these incredible human beings if we want to be presented with an alternate path, with something that's not based on the obvious. It's not based on the notion of self-preservation or survival of the fittest, or maintaining the ego, building up the ego. It's based on something completely different. And but it's it's just such a beautiful perspective upon what it means to live. And I love using the word magic. It's like, of course, that's what it feels like when we go there, and when we receive that. So that's what it feels like to me. When meeting a teacher like Madeline, meeting a teacher like Pete, the insights that pop, and the relationships, the connections that just kind of happen when we're available for them. The only word is magic. So I think today I'm just in a place of appreciating that, and receiving that, and enjoying that. So I wish you magic in your life. All of us are magical. All of our lives are magical. Every moment is magical. And if I'm in a place of trying to just gently not grasp at it, not need that synchronicity to affirm the truth, but just allowing it to come to me. But I wish that for you too. May your life be magical. May your day be magical in the most profound possible way. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you tomorrow.